but you can use interviews and you can use shadowing of residents or patients. You can do a tool called spaghetti diagrams where you follow people around and you kind of walk their path. And there's another powerful tool called a value stream map. A value stream map is where you take the process and you create a picture of that process. So this is an actual value stream map from a long-term care on how residents are placed into a long-term care home. And so the blue represents all of the steps that resident would have to go through. And this was actually a very large value stream map. It actually wrapped around the room. But visually, you can start to see all of the steps someone has to go through. The yellow represented how long does each step take. So now I know what happens and I know how long each of these individual steps take. And then the red represents all of the frustrations, all of the factors that are causing this problem to occur, right? The expression I like to use every single time I do this is, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So the goal here is we all start in the define phase with an elephant, a massive problem. And through data collection, through talking to people, through watching the process, we start to break that elephant into small pieces. Each one of these red stickies is a small piece of the bigger problem. We can then prioritize these red stickies and start to work on the critical few that is going to get us to our desired outcome. Okay. So we define the problem. We collect a lot of information. One way of creating some sort of visual of the process is a value stream map. We now can analyze this problem. The analyze phase is saying, what is the root cause? Why is it that these small frustrations are occurring? So let's say that if we're doing a medication administration process in long-term care, and we're seeing a lot of errors, right? What if the top error is based off of our data collection that we're just not giving the medication? Well, we would start to, in the analyze phase, we would say, why? Why is it that we're missing medications? And there's a bunch of different tools. You could use a fishbone, a 5 whys, an FMEA. You can start to create graphs, but you're starting to say, why might that occur? Well, maybe it's because of the time of day. Maybe it's because we don't have a good way of knowing when we gave or didn't give medications. We're breaking those problems into smaller bits and pieces, which we call root causes. Now, the tool that I want to highlight for you in this phase is called the 8 wastes. These are 8 different categories of wastes that occur in any kind of process, whether it be aviation, community pharmacies, long-term care, government, you name it, these 8 different types of wastes can occur. I won't go through all of them, but an acronym that you can use to remember these 8 wastes is called downtime, and it stands for defects, overproduction, waiting, non-utilized talents, transportation, inventory, motion, and extra processing. Something like defects means any time that there's a mistake in the process and you have to redo it. Well, where is that occurring? How does that contribute to this problem? Overproduction could mean something like we